Hello and good afternoon. Got my sunglasses on today. And, excuse me. I'm getting over a horrible case of, sorry, spirits are talking. You know, the high pitched noises you get in your ear, like that high pitched squealing noise. I get them all the time, both ears sometimes, both at the same time sometimes. And a few times I've been able to sense and feel how it would come in my ear and kind of traverse through the inside of my head across, and then it would come out the other side. And anyways, I hear those from time to time, and I'm at the point now, whenever I hear them, I try to get still and just breathe, so I can at some point understand what's the spirit world, so to speak, is trying to tell me. Because I made this joke, and I made a joke. Imagine that. Fucking jester in the king's court making jokes, right? I am the king in the jester's court. There are only two things that I can do as far as I see it. I can tell the truth, unabridged and uncensored, and I can make jokes at the most powerful in all of the room and tell the truth at the same time with no consequence. So, I digress. I make this joke from time to time, and I think spirit guides, right? All right, now, if you're from the South, you know about angels and stuff of that nature. If you're from, like, the western side of the country, you guys are probably a little bit more into that angel stuff and that saint stuff, because a lot of you guys are Catholics. We have Catholic churches over here. That is not a very big thing, at least in the great state of Alabama. That's great, as long as I'm not irritated at it. That's why it's subjective, right? The beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so spirit guides, guys. The best way I can explain it in an ego way or a three-dimensional way is to see it like this. God has a whole spiritual bureaucracy, all right, of spiritual entities. Now keep in mind, I'm just explaining this concept. Everything originates from God. The energy is all from the source. But to convey this idea in an understandable way, it's like God has a spiritual bureaucracy at his disposal. And it's made up of all of these entities, angels, whatnot, spirit guides, to use a all-encompassing term. To assist you in your journey of life. Okay, now all this is consensual. You don't have to do things. You don't have to, I don't know, man. Some people believe that everything was worked out before we got here, before we was born and everything. And we all contributed to that plan, right? And we agreed to it and went along with it. And the funny thing is, if you ask some people, they tell you there's like a veil of forgetfulness when you come into this world. And essentially, you forget everything. It's real funny, ain't it? It's real funny. And so you're going through life, and You're mainly first and foremost just hanging out and riding the ride and experiencing this. But there's a lot of time. In a human eye, 100 years is a lot of time. Hell, ask some people, a week is a lot of time. A day, it can feel like forever if you're waiting on something. You get in that tense mode where you're like, I gotta have that answer, and they said they'll let me know tomorrow. And then instead of just, okay, tomorrow will come, we kind of tense up, like our whole world freezes, and time, to our perception, slows down. A day, hell, 30 minutes can drag on forever. It's like there's an old proverb, right? Old saying, a pan of water won't boil if you watch it. And that's just a cute saying because I've stared at it before. It will, in fact, boil. I have like, right now I'm getting over this really bad allergy outbreak. I believe you call it hay fever. And it was bad. This is about day 4, but I'm starting to feel a lot better. One day I let the dogs outside, they came back inside and they was yellow. That's how much pollen was out here in this forest. And look here. I can't make plants stop pollinating, right? I can move to an environment where that's not so much the case. Which is the actual plan, it ain't the why, but anyway. So I kept making a joke, and sometimes you ain't got to pray because God's always listening in some form or whatnot. The source is always right there. The divine is always watching out for us. So I kept making a joke that I wish I could hear what these people are trying to communicate and convey to me, because I'm spiritually retarded. I must be spiritually retarded. I can't hear nothing. They just keep on watching me stumble around and spin around and all that stuff. And it's kind of like, if I do get something right, I feel like I'm kind of just spinning, crashing into stuff along the way, trying to do my best. And so, what it's called like clairaudience, right? That's where you can hear things. Maybe it's like supernatural hearing, whatever. You start to hear it, and because it's a frequency, you got like subconscious and all kinds of things that aren't under our immediate control. At least as far as I know right now. And so something in there acts as, put it simply, like an antenna, right? And it's receiving this frequency, this broadcast. And the part of you that catches it translates through you and stuff. And maybe you'll have a thought like maybe 20 minutes after you heard it or something. A thought out of nowhere, but it seems different than your normal thoughts. Maybe you'll be listening to yourself talking, and you'll hear yourself say something that seems awfully profound, maybe insightful, maybe something you don't normally say, and it makes you kind of stop and go, who said that? There you go. It's like that. And it can mean other things. There's a whole laundry list of, some people believe you hear it in the left ear, it means bad. Some people believe it means good coming in the left ear. Some people do the other about the right side. What I believe is that if you feel it and then immediately your ear starts to feel like it's stopped up, spiritually speaking, something's coming in, right? And it usually traverses through the left to the right side of your body. And this is probably tied to how energy flows. Now, okay, so the left side of your physical body is connected to the right side of your processor, right, your brain. And the right side is connected to the left side, okay? Well, the right side of your brain is the feminine side. That's the receiving side. And if it works opposite in your tradition, bear with me, because this one's mine, but I'm sure it means the same thing. So you got the right side, and that's like the feminine side. That's the taking side, the receiving side. It's like a plug on a wall, not really a gender thing. You know, you got a male plug on appliances, most of the, obviously, and then that's the prongs, and you plug it in the wall. Wall's like a female side. But it's funny. Hey, go on, get over there. That's you. Go breathe like that somewhere else. That dog's like, go walk on, go somewhere else. I ain't got the patience for it today. Sound like that dog right in my ear. So excuse me, but so you got like the feminine side, and that's the receiving side. Then you get the male side, and that's like the giving side. Him and her, plus and minus, give and take. But as we know from how electrical circuits work, it's actually a little bit of both. Contract, expand. Contract, expand. It's like that. So I kept making that joke. I wish I could hear what you guys want. I could do things a lot better if I could just hear what you want. Because I happen to be spiritually retarded, you know. And God's probably up there. He really is spiritually retarded. He's like a bull in a china shop. He eventually gets it right. But I'd be damned if he don't destroy that damn china shop in the process. Allergies. Might have a cold too. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like hay fever. It can mimic all the things of a cold. I'll be better. I get better progressively. So, but I'm gonna digress at all this. So, as the title is, you probably came here to hear about avoidance, right? Like avoidant attachment styles, or avoidance in general. Now, I was thinking and meditating on it, and it came to me. I realized something about avoidance. Avoidance, to put it simply, you can do all the extra research you want, but to put it simply, avoidance are people that avoid discomfort, or in an effort to maintain, preserve, or otherwise protect their internal state or their emotional state, they do things like give people the silent treatment, only to return after a predetermined time, because these things are defensive moves for them. These things are self-preservation in a lot of ways to them, so they come up with strategies, coping mechanisms and whatnot. And what that look like is this one, for this offense against my emotions and endangering my well-being, or whatever they may call it, even though their well-being isn't actually at stake, but we're talking from their perspective. This one did this. I feel this amount of uncomfortability, discomfort, suffering, whatever. They get 2 days on the silent treatment list. And it can go all the way up to a month. It can go beyond that, in fact. It's up to the person. Now, the funny thing is about this is it only works on the outside. It only works on things that are external to you. It only works on things that are outside of your body. Funny story, right? That means you can avoid the entire world. You, in theory, can. Now, does that make you better off? No, you're better off overcoming that. But avoidance works. That strategy works on everything that's outside of you. But it won't work on what's inside of you. That's the ironic part. You can ignore the whole world, but you can't ignore yourself. And essentially, if the person who's avoiding, they've been roused internally, oh, they can't avoid themselves. So in the process of them actually trying to restore their inner peace or internal well-being or state, or simmer their emotions down, these people that have this going on and do this, they have to actually overcome their avoidance. They have to overcome their avoidance to restore it at that point. And so that's really, really the funny thing. That's the poetic justice, the irony of it. Because there's a lot of people who have this going on. And they're the kind of people who preach, like they say preach, but they're the loudest advocates of the idea of self-love. They're the ones that you hear like say things like, I've got to protect my peace at all costs. They're the ones that say all kinds of things like that. And the problem is that most of the time, these folks are not innocent in these situations, right? I was watching these clips of like this of like the cartoon of the Lion King, right? And everybody knows Scar. Remember that cartoon? And they made some live action ones of it I haven't seen, but the cartoon version. Scar was an avoidant narcissist. Now, I will be humble and say, every time we have these dysfunctional traits, maybe not avoidant narcissism in people, maybe something else. Maybe anxiousness. Maybe nervousness. The point is, anytime that is, there's a reason. It comes about as a survival mechanism for whatever reason. It's a defense tactic. Problem is, it gets out of hand when that part is, we're unaware of how the thing works, right? And we're unconscious to what's going on. So essentially, what happens is someone like that would start to perceive every form of emotional discomfort, even when it's unwarranted, as a risk, as a life, as a threat to their life, basically. And they essentially run. They're the biggest advocate of this idea of self-love. But at the same time, they're the kind of person they're the kind of person that essentially will say whatever they want, will have whatever opinions they want, and they don't mind sharing them, and they kind of get you to, they breadcrumb you, right? They'll start getting you to do things, and they reward you emotionally by saying things like, I love you, and things of that nature. And then, when what they've been rewarding you and training you emotionally to adhere to and follow, they then turn around, and when it doesn't work out, the avoidant comes out. And if you're not aware this person is an avoidant, because they can seem perfectly normal, narcissists can seem perfectly normal. And if you're not aware that an avoidant is there, when everything goes south, they jump ship. They'd have no tolerance for discomfort emotionally. No fight in them. And I think historically this was called being a coward. And it can get bad that they'll set the whole world on fire as long as their emotional state does not experience even a drop of discomfort. They'll blame everybody on this planet for everything and completely obscure and conceal and outright hide from themselves even the role they played in it. But the funny thing is, there's a part in there that always knows the truth. And that part, I imagine that part right there is tied directly to God. Because God don't like it. He gonna hound you with thoughts, with nightmares, with visions. He gonna hound you until you either wise up and figure out why it's happening to you, and thus grow and overcome things like avoidance and being an avoidant and even being a narcissist. Now, these two aren't exclusively tied together. You can be a narcissist that's anxious. You can be a narcissist that's anything else. Avoidant is kind of like an adjective in that statement. It adds on to what is already there. And so, what we got to realize, everything, when you're in a relationship with these people and you don't know these things and you haven't gotten kind of that feel for how these things work, you start to speak the love language. It's kind of like being trained, like Pavlov's dog. He trained the dog by giving it a biscuit, and thus the dog would do anything for that treat. All right, to a human, hearing the words from someone we trigger love inside of ourselves for hearing things like, I love you, and that's great, and seeing that positive affirmation and that encouragement, that's like that treat. And a lot of avoidance, I've noticed, as they advocate self-love, they also in the same sentence will act like humans don't have emotional attachments and all kinds of manners of mechanisms that we should master. But as it is, turns out a lot of people aren't on spiritual path and they don't even know what the fuck self-mastery is. I'm kind of talking to them. So when an avoidant is hidden, you'll be sitting there moving mountains, and in a minute that there's a problem and their emotional state is at peril in any way, they ghost, they disappear, they run away. And you're sitting there holding the bag trying to understand why I was building a life with this person and I didn't know that they were going to do something like that, and they come back. And then you, as somebody who's normally functional, you're essentially saying, okay, they're gone. I'm a little sad about it. I'll miss them, but life has to go on. I can't halt existence, my existence specifically, waiting on so-and-so to come back. So you do what a normal person would do after you take a few minutes to breathe and catch your breath and get up, maybe a day or two, whatever. It's you. Heal. Don't drag it around. It's okay. Hard, but okay. And so you start to be, okay, well now I'm going to make new plans. And then all of a sudden, so-and-so come back, and they have it's completely oblivious to them that the world went on in their absence. Like you said, okay, I'll do this different, I'll do this different. I go make some new friends. This and that and this. And so when they come back and they found out that you've done some things that they wouldn't have liked before that event occurred, they think it's still supposed to be like before that event occurred. and it ain't. I mean, when people say, I'm done here, what else are you supposed to think? You can feel, and I'll tell you the truth, you can sit here and go, well, they don't mean it. But, I mean, there's been many of people thrown in prison cells because they thought like that, and the person genuinely meant it. And then they got a harassment charge. They got trespassing charges. They got a criminal record. Because I know that's not what's in their heart. I know they're just saying that. But they said it. And that's like saying no. No means no. Don't say it if you don't mean it. Now, things can always be patched back up. Another thing is when they're patched back up and you think like, okay, everybody forgave each other, we can try to keep going. We both messed up. We were both unreasonable assholes to one another. Part of forgiveness. See, forgiveness isn't just a word. Forgiveness ain't just a word that you say and it makes everything better. Forgiveness is a power. It's magic. It fixes the unfixable. But sorry, but we're back. Facebook is remedial. But I want to get back to this important thing instead of rail on Facebook, because this is more important. Forgiveness is a magic power. It's a sacred art. It's a spiritual empowerment. It fixes the unfixable. It restores what is broken. It restores what is lost. Forgiveness is power unlike anything else, because through forgiveness our grudges ended. Forgiveness has to be practiced. It has to be mastered, because it's not just a word. It's not just a word. You can't say it and it do anything. You've got to understand what it is, and you've got to practice it, and you've got to believe in it, or it doesn't work. Forgiveness in the hands of a firm practitioner of this form of sacred magic of holiness. Can grudges be dispelled? Can grudges be removed? And can things be let go? But we go through here, and an avoidant, they typically hold grudges. Narcissists hold grudges. And you know the grudge is because you done let things go. And all of a sudden, a week, maybe a month, maybe a year later, here comes that event thrown at you. They didn't master forgiveness. They haven't forgiven you. They haven't let it go. They still hold it. And worst off, they're lying to themselves, because they're saying that I don't hold grudges and I do forgive you. But they haven't, because they haven't healed. And the healing is the evidence of the fact that they still hold on and have unforgiveness in their heart. And the avoidant, I don't know what the hell makes an avoidant. I don't happen to be one. I think that at one point I had the opportunity to go one of two ways. I could take on head on, or I could work behind the scenes. I chose to go directly on. I chose to go head on to my problems. And there's wisdom in picking and choosing battles. You can't go through the world treating it like you always in a war zone or on a battlefield. You can't do that. It won't end well. It won't. You'll never relax. You don't want to walk through life like that. And I came here essentially to say something. An avoidant can only avoid what's outside. They cannot avoid what's inside. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, Facebook's remedial. Is that really it? Every time I'm at 20%, it ends my broadcast. I could go a lot longer. It plays games. Every time I got good signal, I'm trying to walk around in the woods and show the creek off. It says it's a bad signal. I don't have bad signal. I got full bars. I can go anywhere on the internet. It works the same. I can't tell. Facebook apparently can tell. That's what I wanted to say about Facebook. Get your shit together, man. Get your shit together. It's not your job to look at my 20% on my damn phone and in my broadcast. We go until we collapse in my neck of woods. But yeah, there's a lot about human beings that we don't know anything about. We're walking around kind of like in the Western world, at least. I can't speak for anywhere else. But we walking around, we have no clue that there are things like avoidant people or anxious people or runners and chasers or any of these things that affect human dynamics on a basic level to an advanced level. And we have no idea about that until we experience it. When we experience it, it's not fun. It's a painful experience, suffering experience. I think for all that money we spend on public schools in this country, you could at least teach people some useful things. Like here, I hear they're not even really teaching people how to do math anymore in a way a caveman can get it. I hear they're not really teaching people. They're having awful success rates with literacy. And you wonder, why are we paying for something that is constantly failing? And the truth is, what I think, they stopped thinking simply and they made it super complex. There was no reason to do that. At some point, someone was going to create devices like these smartphones, right? And processors that can do all of that. Simple things. You got these kids for 13 years in a government education center in a public school, and for some reason we can't have a straight answer. These kids can't read. Kids can't do basic math, all kinds of things. Like, if they can't read, why are you trying to teach them things like chemistry in the high schools? Why are you trying to teach them these advanced things? Reading first, then math. You can't go to the hardcore things until you get the basics. You can't do it. That's a reasonable approach. And what you're going to learn is that they're at this moment in time, and it's starting to change, I believe. But at this moment in time, there are many unreasonable people running things who have gotten themselves in position of power, who are running things like public schools. And they know the objective: bonus, raise, promotion. I can't do that if everyone looks like they're failing, so what do? I kind of bullshit, right? I kind of do everything I can to make it look like I'm successful, except, of course, succeed. Because success, like, I hate to tell y'all this, but there shouldn't be like bonuses and things like that. All that does, negotiate your pay. You won't have to worry about bonuses. Figure out what you want before you accept work in the job, and you won't need things like incentive programs that just encourage most people who look at them to bullshit the system. All right? It kind of has drawn out many of the worst characteristics and traits of people. Oh, hell. There's a star of the show. I know your kind can open portals. Oh, yeah, you caught now. Don't you. She gonna open a portal under my feet. Come here, open a portal. Don't do it under my feet, though. Come here, show me that mystical cat power. Come here, I'm gonna pet you. Now. You watch out, them cats will send you to another dimension. You go to sleep one night, that cat be laying on you purring, and you wake up and all of a sudden, Jeeps down the road was white, and then they turned silver. And you watch them turn from white to silver. That was wild. I like that. So the point is, like, my brain's kind of foggy today. Getting over these allergies. Can't think very well today. Can't flow very well if the processor is on the fritz. I think I've said what I had to say about avoidance. You can ignore the outside. You absolutely can run away from everything on the outside in most situations, absolutely. But when it wakes up inside of you, when it triggers inside of you, there's nowhere else to run. Because the funny thing is, once you learn that feeling, your brain gonna make more of it until you learn how to pull the plug on it. Well, how do you pull the plug on it? You don't do that by numbing yourself. That won't work. You'll numb the joyful stuff. What do? You go in there and you heal what is actually making you feel uncomfortable. And in the process, the avoidant heals avoidance. That's the funny part. Tell you guys something about stories before I go. Did you know that inside of us, to put it simply, and you can put it other ways, but I'm going to use this one. There's like a story going on inside of us, like a play almost. And it has mental images of real people. They're counterfeits of real people. And the messed up things that we start to interact with those real people as if they're the mental image, and that is not how it always is. In fact, it's so much so not like it is that pretty much say that's wrong. You don't want to do it because it's not how they are. Now, every once in a while, whatever, it's right. But you got to train some things to get it to be accurate. And I'm going to tell you something. Unless you're just trying to train those mental faculties to utilize them in your spiritual journey in another way or have mastery over them, don't sit there. That story will put them in a position with you, and it'll be like based off of a real event. And essentially, it's showing you how to act towards that person, because showing you how to act, how to see that person, how to feel around them, how to react to something. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be an object. It can be an event. And this is ego. This is a big part of the ego. And if you open your mind's eye and you get good at this, just being conscious and aware, you'll start to see that before you do anything, there's like maybe a visual thought, maybe a worded thought, showing you and telling you what to do. It wants to express that. And that is like the ego in action, because it's showing you how to be that character. What does that character mean? Everybody's ego is a little bit different. That's why it creates separation. So you got to learn, you got to understand what your ego is, what your specific ego is, what's inside of it. And if you're trying to be on a spiritual journey to make being easier, at the very least, to say it, you could go in there and you got to dismiss and resolve the parts of this ego, because you don't want to sit there and play a character. You don't know you're playing a character. So walking around, say a dog bites me one day. Okay? All right, so there's an event that has happened. How I react to that event goes into essentially our ego, our memory, and every time, even if I come across another dog, the story appears that there's a dog. That one's it's like you're remembering that time you got bit by that other dog, and you're a little nervous as a result, or you're a little worried about that dog. A lot of people do this, and so you think every dog that you come across is going to bite you. You're thinking about that one time, and the mind is so incredible. The mind will morph that original event and put that dog you're now interacting with in that same exact event in place of that other dog. It hides the original event. I said no. I wish I could open a portal right now, dump your ass in it. Hey, watch it. Oh, watch it. I'm telling things, important things. Dump me in a portal. I wish you would. Dump me. Come on, show me. You better hope I die. I'll come back up out that portal. So, she's pouting now. Look at her. That'll look like a dramatic picture. If this wasn't such a pigsty, I'll take that picture and say something dramatic over it. Yeah. So after you got bit by that dog, you had a bad experience probably. And so every time you come across another dog, that dog, your mind will morph that dog into that event, into that memory, and play it at you. And most people are unaware of this happening. But it is happening. I witness it every time. When you fast, it becomes easier to see it. Clarity of mind, right? Change up your diet. It becomes easier to see it. Less brain fog. Less things of that nature. More clarity. Clarity means you can see it better, right? And see what's inside that mind and happening all the time better. And so, it's put that new dog that you ain't ever seen before in place, in that memory, in place of that dog that bit you. And all of a sudden, you're like being cautious around that dog. And that dog probably never going to bite you. It's very rare that a dog bites you. That a domestic dog, I'm not telling you a feral dog won't bite you, but most of the time we only encounter wild, stray, feral dogs, all right? But yet, we're kind of nervous around that dog because that one time happened. You keep encountering good dogs, this overwrites that memory. Or you can just go in there and you can process it. Now, well, that time I was there, this is how I felt. Dog bit me, I felt bad. Maybe you learn a little bit more about it. Well, the dog was scared. The owners say they got it from a pound. Previous owners beat it half to death, and they're doing their best with it. The dog was just scared. It had its shots. And maybe show some mercy. Maybe don't. Maybe show some mercy and say, I really didn't like it. But I forgive that dog. Because that dog didn't have it so easy. And while that doesn't justify someone doing something violent, or the dog biting the shit out of me, I acknowledge the harsh truth of this reality. That's there is suffering in this place. I would say that, hell, I'd probably be in a bad mood if somebody beat me relentlessly. Probably be in a damn bad mood. I might want to lash out at somebody. You're forgiven, dog. Go forth, and I have faith that you won't sin again. And if you do, I forgive you 70 more times. If you do it every day, probably gonna feel a little responsible for putting myself in that position to be bit. Especially knowing I was gonna get bit. First time, okay, you did know. Whatever. But the point is, dog bites you, you get that memory. New dog appears, that dog goes in place of that old dog, and a thought plays out. Because it can't be a memory, it can use fragment. It's all thoughts, different type of thoughts. But that new dog can't be a memory, because that dog, you ain't ever met that dog. And that's part of living in the now, is you have that wisdom that sometimes dogs bite. But you realize that there's signs that will show you things. You learn. And you realize that it's a case-by-case thing, to be honest with you. You walk around thinking every dog going to bite you, you're going to live in a state of fear. You're going to miss out. Dogs are freaking awesome. So you analyze it a little bit, and you process it, and you let it go. And it's like distilling it. It's like putting the something inside of the furnace to refine it, and the slag come to the top. You get the slag out, and all that's left is the valuable stuff. The refinement process. You distill it metaphysically, energetically, and emotionally. And that's really all I have to say. I need to go rest. My energy's gone now. I got allergy fever here. All right, guys, hope everything goes your way. I'll see you around.